Hello and welcome to the Arena Sports Show. My name is Clauiee Grace Mpanza. Absolutely excited to have you alongside us. We've got my favorite influencer who's also here, Mahlatse Mphahlele, and we're joined by a co-journalist who has so much experience in terms of journalism, has been in the game since 1997. And when we speak accolades, he has them: 2012, 2018 Journalist of the Year accolades. And then you also look into, has covered 3 FIFA World Cup tournaments, and then you also look into Afcon. He has covered 6. So we're speaking pedigree. When we talk about Real Madrid, that has the pedigree to always come back, Velile Mnyandu also has that pedigree in terms of journalism. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing? Velile, we'll start with you.
But they didn't come back this past weekend.
Listen, they've got the pedigree
For Papa.
in the UEFA Champions
Yeah,
League.
for Papa.
UEFA Champions League, let's keep it there.
Yeah, no, that's why they're not even in the Ballon d'Or. On a Mashlon.
But that Ballon d'Or story,
I know, it's not make sure, hey, it's really not.
Yeah, no, but I'm
gracing
all
us.
good, guys. Thanks so much for the invite. Arena Sports Show, the Arena Sports Show.
Yes. Yes.
I've made it. Yeah, finally got the invite.
You can retire now.
Thank you so.
You can retire now.
Yeah, no, you guys have been doing some wonderful work here.
No, we appreciate
great
it.
interviews.
Chairperson.
Yeah, telling the stories.
Yeah.
Yes, chairperson. Yes.
Yeah, no, must recognize chair.
Definitely, definitely.
How are you doing?
No, I'm good. It's nice to have Ravi here. So I'm sure we'll have very, very good discussions today. Yeah. He's quite a knowledgeable football man.
Yeah.
And should be a good show. Yeah.
It definitely should be, and we'll also get into the nitty-gritties really of journalism in the country, talk about football in the country as well, and what we can look forward to. The Bafana squad is also out, so we'll get to dissect that in just a bit. But a lot is happening in the world of sports, so let's start by finding out what's been happening in your top stories.
Spain and Manchester City midfielder Rodri won the Ballon d'Or award for the best player in the world on Monday, beating Brazil's Vinicius Junior and England's Jude Bellingham to the prestigious prize. Springbok coach Rassie Erasmus has called up Cameron Haneghan to the 35-man squad for the Casablanca outgoing tour following the withdrawal of utility back Damian Willemse due to a groin injury. Former Proteas fast bowler Velile Mnyandu has pleaded with Cricket South Africa to fight for the men's team to get more opportunities to play Test cricket.
With a lot happening in the world of sport, choosing a star of the week also proved to be a difficult task. Mahlatse Mphahlele, who has impressed you in the past few days?
I'm going to Polokwane. Putimahafe. I told
I'm
you
not
guys last week.
surprised.
I told them last week.
He was raving about him last week already.
Putin,
Yes.
Okay, so because we also had this conversation about Putin as well last week.
Yeah. I was asked who is the coach that has impressed me last week, and I told them that Putimahafe. I've been following him. I like the way his teams play. He's definitely an underrated coach. When you speak to him, even sometimes on a one-on-one, you have a sense that he's a guy who's a student of the game. He has also embraced this modern way of doing things, of coaching. Yeah. And he's definitely the one for the future. It's just a little bit of a pity he's working in that environment. Hopefully things can improve there at the club. They've had their challenges. Maybe to a large extent not really the right support that he gets. But he's making the most of what he has. Yeah. The players that they signed, they've signed very, very good players. They've got a good team. I hope they can sustain this and be one of the teams to watch this season.
We can only hope. And then to find out, Velile is, of course, star of the week. He started off with a bit of shade earlier on, so that might give you a hint where he's going. Who's your star of the week?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to revisit the Putty talk, but I just want to say my star of the week. We've watched all kind of football this past weekend. There was El Clasico, the biggest team in Europe, or maybe let's say in the EPL was also playing. The team from Emirates.
You guys in the same WhatsApp group.
The great Gunners.
The Gunners of London.
Yes. All the way from Highbury. Yeah, but the pity they couldn't keep the lead. So, but I think Suzo knows, all those who know me, I'm I'm all about local football because I always say to myself, the local football pays our bills.
Yes,
So
that's true.
why must we care about Europeans when they only come to us for only scandals? But I think for me, Mohau Ngota scoring a brace, a 19-year-old, and you look just also in the fashion that he scored that first goal. So I mean, that was quality. That was quality for me to see him. Also the combination between him and Velile Mnyandu. Now you must understand that these are players who are coming together. They were attacking partners in the DDC team of Orlando Pirates. But even before then, these players were part of a generation of under-20 Amajita that didn't qualify to the Afcon. And that generation had Mdu Shabalala, had Poso Titejane, the late Oswin Andres. You count these two boys we're talking about now, and more of these players. They are all playing top-flight football right now. And you look how Ngota took that first goal. A serious contender for me for the goal of the month. And also even the finish of the second goal as well. Neat, simple, and well executed.
For sure.
You know, and he's been coming. So, and then also I think credit must also go to Coach Jose Rivero. I know the
You've
Pirates.
got a lot of stars of the week, hey? Do you see Mahlatse Mphahlele? This
No,
list is long.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I'm joking, yes.
I know that the Pirates fan base has got a lot to say about Mbule that I said years ago, but that was then.
Things have changed now.
I won't call it. You know. So for me, Mohau Ngota, he's the future.
Yes, he did.
And he represents part of that average age at Orlando Pirates that has dropped. So a brace, 2 assists from Velile Mnyandu, that just tells you about the future in that team.
And I like the unity as well amongst these young players, because you look at also Siyabonga Mabena, who will celebrate these youngsters to say, geez, Ngota is brilliant, Relay is brilliant. So it's great to see that also the other youngsters are taking, you know, liberty and celebrating these youngsters. You want to quickly add into that, Mahlatse?
Yeah, for me, I'm just asking for one thing.
What?
Foot on the ground.
Okay, we mustn't do too much, huh?
We have seen this movie before. Very good players, Ngota, I like him. It's a pity Mabena Sundowns scored a terrible injury over the weekend. He's one who sort of, under Coach Hlongwane, was coming through, but there were stories about him not really doing the right things behind the scenes. He's back now, and there's competition. Clauiee has been playing now, and I can see he's pushing him. There's a lot of young, highly talented footballers across all the clubs in South Africa.
Yes, that's true.
Which means that the future is very bright. We just need to, you know, look after them. I'm sure after the 2026 World Cup, we will have a very, very strong Bafana Bafana, and it will be these kids.
I completely agree. My star of the week, I could not stay in football because, as you can tell, the two gents here decided to opt for football. What do you mean I never stay in football? But I'm going straight to motorsports, where you look into, of course, Sam, whose full name is Usamgeliso Tubane, who is, of course, a Red Bull ambassador and a spinster of note. Guess where he comes from, Mahlatse Mphahlele? I know you know, but guess Mahlatse Mphahlele.
I can tell you that he's desperate.
Close, say some views. So he is from Mpumalanga, which is absolutely great to see him, of course, shining.
It isn't Mpumalanga care feature
please respect us.
Because she's the ambassador of the Mpumalanga province.
With pride so much. So it's great to see. Of course, he was at the M-Fest, and man, he was doing his thing. Everybody loved it, which is great to see. And then a lot also, I mean, when you go back to football, we go to Botswana. We've got, of course, match day 4 that took place not so long ago. And when we look into the results, it's great to see where you look at a club like Rollers, who finally got, of course, a victory after suffering a defeat in the midweek. Also, same thing with Gunners, got a victory against VTM that was 2-1. And then you look at Nico United and Gaborone United, and that was a goalless stalemate. And then when you look into Tafik, of course, they played against Europa United, and well, Tafik unfortunately then dropped points in the log as they then suffered a defeat, which is unfortunate for them. But Mahlatse Mphahlele, you look into those results, and it also impacts the log. How is the log looking?
Yeah, I think it's taking shape. You know, I will say the same. What I've been saying over the last few weeks now, since the season started, Now that we are covering this league, I'm more and more drawn to the league now. You know, the teams are quite decent. You can see there's a deliberate attempt by the people in Botswana to really try and professionalize that league. They play good football. You know, some of the teams are very, very decent, good players. And obviously, I mean, from a South African perspective, Morena will always be the focal point because he's one of us. I mean, he's just been given the responsibility of coaching the team now, which is a massive plus for him. There's always been a thing that why isn't he getting opportunities in South Africa?
For sure.
He's quite a big deal there in Botswana. They take him very seriously.
Yeah, no, look, it's also, even though it's temporarily now because it's just an interim, but I see him qualifying this team. Remember, the Zebras, the Botswana national team, they have not been to the Afcon in 12 years. And they are just one game away now. All they need to do is to beat Mauritania in the next game at home. And Morena is, because they lost their coach just immediately after winning back-to-back the games against Cape Verde. So now Morena comes in as the caretaker coach, and for me this is the biggest honor. And one of the reasons that they've gone, because I spoke to the president, the newly elected president,
the young man.
The young man, 45-year-old. He beat a 73-year-old. Tarik Mabitseng. You know, one of the things that he's been very clear about is rebooting football in Botswana. And one of the first things that he did, the Botswana Football League, they've given it autonomy, that it must run outside Botswana Football Association, because most leagues on the continent, they are run by the associations. In this case, you would have SAFA running the PSL. But now, they've followed the model of the PSL and SAFA. And that's the first thing that they did. And another thing that they've done now was also because Mabitseng, the new president, is also close to Uganda Galaxy. So it was an easy call for him, because he was even here with Galaxy when they played all the Pirates. So it was an easy call for him to say, can they please loan them Morena, but Morena will still be with Galaxy and then he'll leave, because Morena knows the players, he knows the squad, and the majority of the players also are coming from Hlongwane Galaxy. And also remember, Morena, he's got experience. He's won the COSAFA Cup title, coaching senior team at Bafana Bafana. It's a missed opportunity because Morena could have been a second assistant coach at Bafana Bafana now, and even under 23 coach for us. But we dragged our feet.
You know,
and someone else took them. So now when you look into, of course, the fixtures that will be upcoming, we also have then the Rollers who will be taking on Malebela come on the 2nd of November, Security System, Traffic also on the 2nd, and then you look into Flamingos who hope to continue their winning ways against Santos, and then Uganda and Galaxy, after they played a goalless stalemate of the weekend, they'll play Nico United come the 2nd of November at 4 p.m. So much to look forward to. But now when we bring it back to here in studio, I mean, we've got two top journalists, and I think the biggest question that you always want to ask, and I'll start with you here, Veli, because I mean, we see you guys and we watch you guys so closely, especially on social media. First thing first, when you look back into your career, I mean, 27 years, what is the one highlight that stands out from you? I've spoken to Mahlatse about his, but what's yours?
The highlight is in the industry.
In the industry, I know it's a tough one.
Look, you know, I remember when I just started, and it was, I had started in January, in fact in March, and later that year, there was a big story that came in my area. Mdantsane, and you know what Mdantsane is known for.
Yes.
So the real deal came into town, and it was just a week after his ear had been beaten by Mark Tyson. You know, so you know, just being there in the same room with some of my colleagues, and I was only 15 at the time. You know, and I was just covering football, and I also remember the first Vodacom challenge. That's where I saw Jabupule's first game. And you know, I was this young boy, I think I was about 18 at the time in Devon at the time, and I was interviewing the Iron Duke and
Jeez.
also Brakey as well, Dr.
Yeah.
Koza and Dr. Wakeza Mtaung. And if people in the industry know Imarans, and Imarans is this old recorder and it's heavy, entsimbi, yabo.
Yeah.
So I was holding this Marans and I think I had a big jacket. so this being this lighty and interviewing these two giants on the field at Kings Park Rugby Stadium back in 1999, and I remember vividly that day there was Kole Toure playing for ASEC Mimosas on the other side, playing against Abo Shaful, the late Banda Libisi for Chiefs. And here I was doing these interviews. Pirates played in the final later against Esperance. Jaidi was in that team. Pirates had the likes of Abokai, Roger Nzeng, you know. So this is just the history one has of covering sport and football in particular. So for me, I would give you, in this 27 years,
I know there's a lot to get into.
Yeah.
And then Mahlatse Mphahlele, I mean, also with your fair share of experience. But what I want to find out from you is then where we are currently, the state of journalism, in your opinion, because we get a lot of different opinions where sometimes even fans are like, but guys, what are you guys asking at these press conferences? So you've been there, you've seen it throughout, you've seen journalists come in and out. Talk to us about the state where we are currently.
Pravi, she wants to get me into trouble.
I'm not getting into trouble.
No. I think in Mahlatse's defense, before he goes on, there's a code in the industry. In the same way that coaches cannot review each other or say anything about each other publicly, also as journalists, we don't talk about ourselves publicly.
Yeah, and I was saying, I think, having said that, self-criticism is very good. I can't sit there and mention incidents or names or what, but we are not where we're supposed to be. There are challenges, just in terms of behavior of colleagues. I mean, I was at Peter Mgaba on Saturday, and this will shock you. A guy with accreditation was drinking alcohol in the media box.
Yeah, no, that's unacceptable.
Sure.
There was somebody with a child in a media box, and you can't do that. It's wrong. I guess maybe it's largely due to the fact that there's no inductions anymore now. The industry does not have a lot of senior guys. A lot of guys have retired and then they've left. So you have got this influx of young people who are journalists. Some maybe they've been to journalism school, but they are not really journalists, and you see that by one thing.
What?
When we are watching a match,
Yes.
you can have 15 people there watching a match in a media box. But when you go to the press conference, it's 6 people. When the final whistle blows, they leave, they go home. They don't even go to the press conference. So there's too many things that are wrong, which needs to be corrected. And it's going to take collective effort from all of us. I think we have been around for a while. We need to engage the younger guys quite regularly, the do's and the don'ts, and behavior and that kind of thing. But we do have a lot of challenges. I mean, I was with Velile in PE at the Bafana match. A guy asked about, for example, I mean, just for lack of context and understanding. The guy asked a question about Tembi was lodged, for example, to the coach, who has not played for the national team in 2 years. Who's been injured. At Bongokuhle now, a guy asked the coach about the progress of Thembazwane at the press conference. Thembazwane just had an hemorrhage now. So those are the things which we need to fix.
And also I think to what Zizo is talking about, and this is what at SAFJA, the South African Football Journalists Association, we're also all about. This past weekend, my deputy chairperson, Mpho Maboy, she was at a SANEF fundraising event, and I'm glad to say that so SAFJA is an associate member of SANEF, and SANEF is going to help us in a lot of these things. But also remember, SAFJA doesn't sit in diary meetings or newsrooms. We don't know what is happening there, but we can only help so much. And also I think another challenge now is that there was an era where when you talk about journalism, you're talking about, you know, that you've got journalists in the house, people who've seen the doors of journalism school.
Yeah.
But now,
Aye.
people just become content creators on TikTok,
Everyone with
on
their cell
X,
food and a macro food.
and people are journalists and they get accreditations, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, so there are just all those things. But I think what is important, where we can contribute and change how things are happening, like at SAFJA.
For sure.
And something that we've always wanted to start, a SAFJA mentorship program.
Which I think would be beneficial, definitely.
Exactly. And already we have done some groundwork around it. And there are people, even within SAFJA, veterans, the Mark Lissons, the Nick Saids, the Tabiso Temas, the Matselena Mamabolos, the Matthew Mpetes, you know, and Karing Mate.
I hope you're not missing any name, because
No,
otherwise they're going to come back for you.
Yeah, no. At least I've mentioned most of them. So those are the people who can help to mentor. I'm still waiting for this mentor. I think his membership.
Please renew your membership, sir.
I don't even think he picked it up for the first time. But you see, because he wants to correct things. But there are corrected things there.
Mahlatse Mphahlele, please leadership.
That's true,
Yeah.
That's true.
But I know that this is a topic that we feel passionately about. You know, and I think we want, because also, look, we're not saying that it's wrong to start as a content creator. But what is important is that we also want to convert you into, because by going through the journalism school or journalism is about principles. You know, journalism is about values.
Yeah.
So, and being a content creator, you don't get that.
All right, so quickly before we wrap this up, I mean, we also look into, there's a question that Nabi Mahlatse, you were there, got over the weekend about why certain players are being played and then they're not. And then he got also a bit defensive about it, saying that, but why are you asking me if this player is odd, so who shouldn't play? Same thing. Peter has done it over the years, even at Al Ahly, where he was like, but why are you asking me why he's not playing? They're all Al Ahly players, they're all Kaizer Chiefs players, all they need to play. So talk to us about that reasoning, perhaps from the journalism perspective.
Look, I mean, sometimes if it's a question, just answer the question. Simple. You know.
Because if he had won, he was going to answer the question.
You know?
But because he's lost now.
Yeah, so sometimes coaches think, and I mean with due respect, but they want to act clever when situations favors them.
Okay.
Sometimes tomorrow there's a very same question, he will answer it.
Yes.
Why didn't you want to answer it there? Because of the particular situation that was happening at that time.
Okay.
So if you ask a question, answer it, and then that's it.
Okay, fair enough. We keep things moving. We talk all things Bafana Bafana. The squad is finally out. 38 prelim squad that will be, of course, trimmed down. We are preparing to face Uganda away from home, and then South Sudan will be here at home in November. And then when you look into the squad, Velile, talk to us about that squad, starting, of course, with the goalkeeping department. We see Sage Stevens, who is a part of it, which I'm absolutely excited about. I mean, we've seen him doing so well at Steadies. Talk to us about that goalkeeping line.
Yeah, so, you know, with the qualifiers, there's a golden rule. It also goes for our teams that will be starting in the group stages in the CAF Interclub competitions later next month. Is that what is important? You win all your matches. If you're in a group, you win all your matches. You're on 9 points, and then you start on 9+. So when we failed to beat Uganda, it was an issue for Coach Hugo Broos, because Coach Hugo Broos's plan in the squad announcements that I've been with him, he's always shared that he wants to qualify as soon as possible. So the idea is that in the past 4 matches, he was looking at maybe at being at 12 points, possibly, or at least 10 points. So that he's also, even because there's also head-to-head, he's even addressed the issue of head-to-head. Because he was looking at using these next 2 matches to infuse new talent into the team, younger and fresher, you know, because the next international friendly matches, I think they are only in June. So you're not going to have time to experiment.
Yeah.
But I think now he can see that, okay, look, because the quality, even some of the quality that is brought, is very interesting. So I think it's important that people must understand why suddenly there's so many new faces. The coach is thinking ahead. He wants to refresh the team. And also there's also some serious injuries that has happened. We have been talking about Sage Stevens for a very long time now, and I think it's only fair that even if he's not going to make, because he's only going to go to camp with 3 goalkeepers, even if he's not going to make it into the final team, but also for himself and for everyone who's been calling for his name to know that he is part of the coach's plan. You
So
know?
with that reasoning, Velile, and we'll get to you, Mahlatse, in just a bit. Tsegofatso Baba says another player that a lot of people have been talking about. He's still not in the
Now you're jumping the defense.
We'll get to it. But I mean, the same reasoning. Sage, we've been calling for him, and a lot of people have been calling for Umabasa as well.
Yes, and I think it's also important for people to understand that if you can get your selection that you want, I get mine here too. Mahlatse gets his. Even here in studio, even the whole crew, everyone, I'm sure we'll end up with 100 players.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's, okay. And also national team is also based on, it's not just only on form, only. And it's also based on what type of players the coach is looking for. And are you also playing according to what the coach, you know, I had an interview recently with Thapelo Morena, you know, and we're talking about how patient he's been. You know, Thapelo Morena at first, in the first squad of Coach Hugo Bros, he was picked as the right back. But as time went on, he would come and, you know, but his versatility has helped him so much that he can be picked, and you saw it at the Afcon.
Yeah.
You know, he came in and he was not playing as a right back. He was playing as a more up front, and he contributed positively to our team. So with the selection of the national team, sometimes it's not just about form only. Because international football is a different animal. It's not PSL there.
You know what this sounds like, Mahlatse, when we talk about criteria? It sounds like the Ballon d'Or, where now there's a criteria that has been listed to say there's fair play, clean play, to make sure that you win the Ballon d'Or. But talk to us from your perspective. I mean, we see Sasane as well from the defenders. He's made costly mistakes for Orlando Pirates, but he's also, of course, been influential in terms of making sure that he sustains Orlando Pirates and protect that line. He's in the Bafana squad. Lord Mvala is also back. What do you think of the defenders?
Yeah, the defenders, I'm generally happy. Obviously, the first name that jumps up to be is Sidney Mobie. He's there. The man is
always.
The man is there.
Yeah, no, that one.
But
no
I'm happy for a player like Matuludi.
Yeah.
I think he has been grafting there at Polokwane. He's done very well. And I think this is a guy who can push Kuliso going forward. Yeah. You know, also.
You know to what you are saying. I mean, I saw he took a shot with a left foot.
Yeah.
And then immediately after that, there was another strong shot.
He took it.
But also, it's also important. The coach has been emphasizing this. When players are called up to the COSAFA Cup squad,
they must go and perform there.
Go and perform there.
Because this is a COSAFA graduate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Roshun Dotley, COSAFA graduate, captain that team, scored there. Matuludi was there, continued with his form, and now is rewarded. Because now, the first time, if he comes to the final squad, he will not be wearing the jersey for the first time.
For sure.
And remember, COSAFA Cup has got international caps,
Yeah.
So he's already captain.
Yeah, he's already there, yeah. Yeah, so that's very important. I mean, I was Sasani. I felt he was a little bit exposed in that match where he played without Nda. But there's no doubt about the potential and the quality is there. He will learn from that experience. He will continue to improve. Bazadin, I mean, we know what the guy can do. The other one that jumps up for me is Siyabonga Ngezana. I think maybe let's not be too harsh. Let's get Siyabonga Ngezana. Let's give him another chance to see what he can do. You know, he's playing at a reasonable level overseas.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's been mistakes here and there, but maybe with another chance he can correct. But he needs to understand that at this level you can't keep on making mistakes. But I'm happy that he's back, and maybe if he gets another chance, it'll probably be the last chance for him to improve and cement a place in this team, because moving forward it's going to get very, very tough to get into this side.
So while you're there, the postman as well, I mean, we saw in the game against Polokwane, he was not even in the travelling squad. So talk to us about also, you know, his inclusion in this Bafana squad and really what's going on then at Mamelodi Sundowns.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think there's anything untoward that's happening at Sundowns with Modiba. Because also the Sundowns coach has been changing the team quite a lot.
I saw a lot of changes.
Yeah, I mean, the
this
team that played in
squad.
Polokwane over the weekend was a completely, the starting 11 was completely different to what played against against Arrows. He's changing the team a lot. I don't know if maybe it's an issue of managing the players given that the Champions League is coming. But for the national team, he's our preferred left back. He will play for the national team.
Yeah.
Whether he's
Of course,
playing
he
at
always
Sundowns or
delivers,
not.
right?
Yeah,
He always deliver.
Yeah, and also I think because we've been asking the coach at Bafana about this because Sundowns, it's clear that they're not going to use him anymore. Maybe unless there's an emergency as a left back or as a left wing back. He plays central and look, for the brand of football and the way Sundowns is using him, it works for them.
Yes.
But Coach Hugo has been clear that for him,
He's a left back.
he's a left back because as we say, international football is different from club football. It's got different demands. You keep it simple there. You've got players only for 3-4 days.
Yeah.
You know, so you must also use them according to their strength and how it has worked for you.
For sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, if there are no injuries, Modiba is a starter in Coach Hugo's team.
I'm just interested to see what is he going to do there centrally, because for the last two qualifiers it was different. Now Mvala is back. He changes the dynamic. Personally, I like the left-footed centre back. I know there may be questions
You
about
come out easily. You know,
there may be questions about the experience and all that kind of thing, but maybe you play him and Mvala there.
but there's a combination
that's a
that got
bit
us
unfair.
4 clean
Yeah.
sheets.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's another
Yes,
thing,
that's the other thing
Yeah,
that I'm
yeah.
also thinking
Do you
about.
keep them or do you change them and all that kind of
Why
thing?
fix it if it's
Yeah.
not broken, Mahlatse
You
Mphahlele?
know, maybe leave them and then let's continue.
I think so too. All right, to keep things moving, we spoke about Mothobi Mvala earlier on in the show. And I mean, he's a coach that's doing really well. I mean, he's also given us a breakdown on how he thinks you can get a victory over Mamelodi Sundowns. And Kaizer Chiefs are probably watching that Hlongwane City game every day to just make sure that they're ready for the calling Black Label semi-final. But Velile, when we talk about Mothobi and really his growth in the game, talk to us about him as a coach.
You know, we've just spoken about Mamelodi. Now, I'm a rural boy, you know, and also, if you go into the squad that was at the Afcon of Bafana Bafana, that team was, in terms of the biggest representation, sort of there was not too much in Mpumalanga, but Mpumalanga, I think there were 2 players. Yeah, but 6 players were coming from Limpopo there.
Yeah.
You know, and these players were coming from Limpopo, and we look at majority of them coming from villages in Limpopo, obviously, but not playing for Limpopo clubs, but that's their originating. So they had the biggest representation, 6. Gauteng was following with 5 players. It tells you about the area, the province, and this comes with history as well. And a coach like Puti, I remember we were at Loftus and there was this post-match conference and they were talking about qualifications and they said, yeah, I know he's got a B license, you know? And okay, I was like, okay, B license, this coach from Limpopo, okay. Then it means that was the B license, there's no B license coaching courses, maybe from since 2016, 2015. So it tells about someone who's been long in the game,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I remember going to this ABC Motsepe National Playoffs, and he coached there a team called Dolphins, you know, and I remember these playoffs that I attended, that's the playoffs where TS Sporting was also promoted. And someone like Mamelodi comes with him from Dolphins. He's coached him at Dolphins at amateur level, coached him at Polokwane, and helped him to get into the senior national team in the COSAFA. Now, he's coached him, you know?
Yeah.
So imagine how many Puti Muhafez do we have out there. One of the things that we must move away from Mzansi, Tanda Magama. You know, Tanda Magama.
You sound like Dan Malisela right
Yes.
now. Yes.
Yeah, Tanda Magama. And also, because also these are coaches maybe that didn't even play at the highest level.
Yeah.
You know? So somebody must give them a chance.
Yeah.
These coaches. And I think for me, you see even in the quality of football. Even my call me football, put him half a year.
Yeah, you listen.
Yeah.
That's
you know, and we're not saying these things because Bashai Sundowns. We've been talking about
We've
this.
been saying this long before.
Yes.
The other interesting thing is that you also look at Oswinapolis.
Yes.
Oswinapolis may have gone to a so-called smaller club, and he drops. But he goes to a so-called smaller club where there's coaching, and then his performances are like this, or even going up. And that's a sign of a very, very good coach.
Yeah.
We must really thank Puti for the way he has been able to coach a player like Oswinapolis, but only not him and the rest of the players. They play good football. I really enjoy watching them.
Yeah.
He's a good coach.
Yeah, and I remember when Coach Mangoba was still at Amazulu, he would say one thing, that a club that is down there, that maybe is not challenging for trophies, not challenging for the league title, when the players are selected into the national team, that's a big victory for them.
For sure.
You know, and also that's credit to the coach at that level. I mean, in this latest Bafana Bafana squad, Hlongwane City have got 3 players in the prelim squad. You know, from nothing in previous seasons.
For sure.
You know, so I think, I mean, also they finished in the top 8.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The last time Hlongwane played good football was when that Maverick from Belgium, Luke Emile, another good coach who is just a crazy character.
Yeah.
They are like that. He was also cooking there.
Definitely are. Let's quickly find out what Mangoba Mngqithi has to say about Coach Puti.
No, I've known this boy for more than 10 years now. And you can ask him. I told him you will become one of the best coaches in this country. The first time I saw him, I think we were playing a pre-season friendly, and I was listening to him when he was talking to his team on the bench, and I heard that this boy has got attention to detail, and he's got a lot to give to South African football. And from that time up until now, our relationship has always been very good. He's one boy that I'm very optimistic he will make it, because he understands the game, he loves the game, and he's got attention to detail. And honestly speaking, if you look at this team, I don't know who recruits players for Hlongwane City, but if you look at this team and their recruitment, you would see they really have a lot of very good players, and they must be given credit. And I was speaking to someone else the other day, far away from this match, and I said one of the teams that has really recruited very well is Hlongwane City, and I do think they are a team that is going to be a big threat. You will always be concerned with how far they will go, but I knew that they will be a threat because the team they have is quite strong, and the coach they have is quite good. I respect him a lot, and we are very close.
Coach Lucas.
It's great to hear from Coach Mangoba in terms of the respect that he has for Coach Puti. On that note, I want to find out from you, gentlemen. I mean, when you look into the league and the coaches that we have, I mean, one thing that's always important is that the players and their improvement and how they develop, that's how you see a good coach. From the coaches that we've seen, and I mean, leave Mamelodi Sundowns out of it, leave Orlando Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs, which are the other coaches that are doing well in the league?
This is how you can start.
Yeah, Stellenbosch, coach.
I think I should have added no Stellenbosch as well, because I think we know that.
Yeah, Stellenbosch. There's another guy that I think, given time, is going to surprise a lot of people going forward. That was Muzi Vilakazi. There's an arrogance about him, not a bad arrogance, good arrogance. He's confident. He's just been unlucky that he has gone to clubs where he was not given a chance to really do his thing. He also, in a similar mode, like Puti, a student of the game. I'm just not sure how much he's educated himself in terms of the coaching.
Yeah.
He's a former professional footballer. And he likes this late night, what is this, TikTok lives. Where he just talks football.
Some karaoke.
And he engages normal people, and he talks very, very good football. And there is something there. Okay. And these are the guys that makes me happy, because young black South African coaches who, as time goes on, surely, there's no doubt that they will coach one of the big teams in the country. So, Vilakazi is, I like him. And also the guy at Tuks. It's just that, the Tuks, they are not in a rush to get promoted, but he's also another guy who is he's a football man, and also he knows his football, and he has been through the systems at the university, and he's also educated now. He was at the KFA license last year with the rest of the coaches. So yeah, people like that are the ones that are really I'm always on the lookout for.
What about you, V?
Yeah, no, we've got a lot of good guys. I mean, one person that I know, together with Zizo, we share the same sentiment about is Kwanele Kopo, student of the game. And I think his story now is well documented. You just look at, it's interesting, we're talking about Kwanele Kopo and Putimo Hafe, they are both on 10 points, and Apolis, because actually the story goes that Kopo was going to Polokwane City, but Apolis wahamba phambili, but I think Chipa intercepted the move as well.
The other story before you continue is that Kwanele Kopo went to fetch Apolis at home.
At home.
Overweight.
Yes.
He took him to the NFD team in Pretoria. Pretoria Kellys.
Pretoria Kellys, yeah.
When police arrived there, the owner said, "Yeah, what is happening here?" He trained like that.
Yeah, and in fact, he could have played for Cape Town City before that. Cape Town City maybe didn't really follow up. So Kwanele Kopo for me is one of those coaches, and for obvious reasons. I think I'm just surprised that I was seeing a lot of people surprised, where is this coach coming from?
Yeah.
Someone who's been in the system for more than 2 decades now.
He was Coach Peter's assistant.
Yeah, that's why I'm
surprised.
But also I'm just encouraged to see, especially in the NFD, because in the NFD there's been these coaches who have been being recycled, but we see a number of young coaches, qualified young coaches, getting a chance there. Because also another thing that we must move away from the NFD to professionalize it properly is to move away from these owners who are coaching their clubs.
Yeah.
And if you look at the team that is doing very well now, Milford, Mandla Qhoke is there.
Yeah.
Now you hear us talking about the Sesanis. We talk about the development players who are coming from Pirates. Mandla Qhoke was in charge for a long time in that DDC team of Orlando Pirates and channeling this young talent, and he's showing his level there. And our guys are qualified; they are young. I'm waiting to see, even in the Amachita team now, the assistant there is coaching at UJ in the APC Motsepe, Karabo Mohodi. And in no time, if maybe someone has got vision, Karabo deserves to be in the professional setup. So I think one of the good things that coach, in fact, TD Walter Steenbok has done very well is to bring back these coaching licenses, especially the A and B license. And someone like Mabudi Kanyeza, he's going to be graduating in the next 2 weeks with his B license. And we need to see more of them.
We definitely
also
do.
Yeah.
I mean, while we're on the coaching note, I mean, we also have, of course, the national coach in Hugo Bruce. We've discussed, of course, the Bafana squad in terms of the defenders and the keeping department. Now, when you look into the middle of the park, Mahlatse Mphahlele, talk to us about, of course, also Jaden Adams, who makes a comeback.
Yeah, I hope
that he actually makes the
that
comeback.
he has forgiven him.
Yes.
He's a young man who made a mistake. We all make mistakes, and let him come back to the national team and continue playing football. I'm happy he's back, and I would love to see him making the final squad.
No, I know. I was there when you arrived there. We were discussing it in Gqeberha, and it's good to see him back because I mean the boy is talented.
Yeah.
Kuthiwa ngeXhosa bonke abantwana bayakhula bayazenza mistake, but I think it's also in Coach Hugo's nature that he's a grandfather, he's a father figure as well.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that he's back in the team tells you that there's a good conversation that will have taken place.
And also, Coach was right to do what he did because he sends a message not only to him, to all these other players that at this level we don't have time for nonsense. So yeah, I think I'm happy to see him back. Tebza is there, Talent is there, he's back, he's played a few matches for Pirates already. Luc Leroux, he came through in Gqeberha. The match was, we were in control of the match, but he played very well. I must apologize to him. I was
What did you say?
I was not sure, but I think there's something there. There's something there.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, like I'm saying, the match was won already by that time. But that's when you need to come, be comfortable. There's no pressure.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do and show us what you can do. So I'm also happy that he's back in the squad.
All right, Veli, talk to us about the forwards. We see also Percy Tau, who is also in the squad. I'm hoping that he's also managed to deal with whatever it is that he was dealing with in the previous
Hey,
But yeah, it's good to have him back on the prelim squad.
I'm going to concentrate on somewhere. Yeah, no. But I think it's good to have Percy in the team, and I really hope that he can come back this time and be with the team, because also there's been a lot of issues at Al Ali as well.
Yeah.
But now they've won even the Super Cups, you know. At least now he's settled in that space. So I hope that he will also make the final squad. A lot is happening in this space also because of what I had shared earlier, that the coach wants us to refresh the team. And you see the number of faces that is mentioned or is announced in this team. Evidence Mahopa is back. I felt that he was...
Komota.
Skomota, ne? Yeah, no, I felt that at the Afcon, I mean, he was just one of our star performers.
For sure.
And Coach Hugo likes him. If you remember his very first game against Uganda in 2021, he was there and he scored in that game, actually. So it's good to see him back, and you see even his impact at Orlando Pirates as well. We see the return of Bongokuhle Hlongwane as well. We've been calling for him. He's been consistent in the MLS, scoring for his team, Minnesota. So it's good to see him back as well. But also there's another return. We don't have someone like Mshishi, you know? And I know that everyone was talking about Gaston Serona coming into the team. But I think...
But you know what I find funny with that, Velile?
Yeah.
When he was at Sundowns, people were like, nope, we don't want it. Now he's at Kaizer Chiefs, people are like, yes, he should come.
But he's shining there.
He's shining there. No, I think maybe what necessitated is now...
Sundowns, he had Villa, he had Mshishi.
Too much competition at Sundowns, so you guys couldn't see him.
There is easy there.
Yeah. It's easy to feel about.
At Naturel, clearly.
It's easy to shine there.
In journalism, there's a saying, no comment is a comment enough. Yeah. I don't want to bring our battles with Brazil here. But I think what has necessitated this talk is also the injury to Mshishi. Is going to be out for a very long time now. And besides these qualifiers, we've got crucial World Cup qualifiers in March. You know, so maybe it was along those lines that they talk about. But the coach, I think the selection here, going for someone like Mbule, the master chef. Remember Mbule was one of the players who was in his first squad. And Mbule also, he reunites. What I like about this team is that majority of the boys here have got under 17, under 20 World Cup experience, Olympic experience as well. And so Mbule comes in here in a group of players that he knows, he's played with.
For sure,
you know? And I think for me, without being influencing anyone's mind, in terms of coming close to what Mshishi is and what we need, he fits that. And he's been playing regularly now at Sekhukhune.
And then also that raises another dynamic now. In the bigger scheme of things, Maswanganyi, what do we do with Maswanganyi going forward? Because, you know, he's there.
I think with Maswanganyi, it's, and I was saying this to you earlier, that there's a difference with international football. It's a different animal. In international football, you don't do much with the ball. You receive, you just, you know, you I mean, I always look at Mshishi, the way he makes it so simple. And I would love to see someone like Tito going to a tournament with Coach Hugo. Because at the Afcon, I saw players differently. Some players, I saw them differently. Because Coach Hugo had more time with them. And people, there's been this saying that Coach Hugo now is just being helped by Sundowns. But Bafana Bafana was playing more Sundowns players, but playing them differently to how Sundowns is using them. You know, so it also tells you that Sundowns players also at their club are well coached, that they can adapt to any situations
For sure.
in the game. But also, it doesn't mean that it was because they were playing the Sundowns way. Because in one game where maybe we were focused too much on starting the ball, playing from the back, and
Yeah.
and not being quick with our football, that's why we considered 2 goals against Mali and we lost.
Yeah.
After that, things changed in the next game. So I would love to see Tito getting to know more how Bafana Bafana plays, because he's got the qualities.
He does.
And that's why the coach also sees him as maybe someone who's a successor to Mshish.
That's where the Champions League comes in. Let him go there,
Yes.
learn from the Champions League. Maybe he'll come back and fit at Bafana Bafana.
100%.
Because the way he's played now at Pirates, there's no chance of making that.
All right, so we speak about learning, and I guess the key lesson as well in terms of South African football is crowd control. I mean, getting into the stadiums is becoming a bit more tedious now because there's that buzz. Mamelodi Sundowns is doing well, Kaizer Chiefs is doing well, and Orlando Pirates is doing well. Yes, there are defeats in between, but they've started off the season quite on a high. So now there's a bit more traffic. In your opinion, what could be done? Mahlatse, we were talking about this in terms of the Orlando Pirates and AmaZulu game, how difficult it was to get into Orlando on Friday.
Yeah. When I sat inside the stadium, it was during the post-match press conference.
At the end.
I watched the match on the phone.
On your
the
phone.
stacking traffic.
Yeah.
And I wrote something about it. I think all the relevant stakeholders needs to sit down and really come up with a way how can we do this thing. Football run the risk of people walking away from football, because it's not pleasant going to a football match. People don't leave their comfort of their homes to be stuck in traffic for 3 hours. You're having a ticket in your hand, you can't even go watch the match. It's not good, and we really need to sort it out. I mean, it was the same thing at Polokwane.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that next door at the old Bidamgawa Stadium, there was a gospel festival there. So can you imagine 2 big events at the same time? You are going to have chaos. That's why that match was delayed for 30 minutes. But the Orlando Stadium one, I've been around stadiums. That was the worst one.
Yeah, on Friday, you know?
Yeah, on Friday. It was
I know people.
It was bad.
Some of them were coming to cover the game.
Yeah.
They turned back.
Jeez.
They turned back.
It was bad. It was very
Other
bad.
people came in at halftime, towards the end of the game. You know, Mahlatse
I arrived, and also even at the press
in the
conference,
post-match conference.
I
and
missed
he
the
missed first
AmaZulu
goal.
press conference.
So now you can
That's
imagine.
how bad it was.
Yeah, but I think
man.
one of the things that I've observed, and when I talk to also people who are involved, is, you see, to organize a football match, you need not less than 300,000 rands just to be compliant, because there's what we call the SASRIA Act, the South African Sports Events and Recreation.
That came
Event
after
Act.
the Ellis Park disaster.
Came after the Ellis Park disaster, was implemented in 2010. I think now it was also amended, you know, even after the World Cup.
Yeah.
So that also requires that, because I was asking some people in the industry that why don't we have these challenges when it comes to the Springboks, and you know, and they would say that maybe previously on other platforms I've been harsh on JMPD that they don't really care about football, but one of the things I found out that people in football don't want to pay for the full service.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes you'll find that they talk about tickets and they say it's sold out, but the stadium is empty. But the sold out means that they only made 10,000 or 15,000 tickets available.
Okay.
And for that, also, there's an allocation that you get from JMPD. Say maybe you only want 10,000 at JMPD people for traffic control.
Yeah.
But you increase the attendance closer to the game, and you end up with a stadium of 50,000 people. But you have not increased the security
The security and the traffic.
and the JMPD, you understand?
Yeah.
And then you're bound to have these problems.
Yeah.
So sometimes people in football don't want to pay for the full service because they are trying to maybe not spend too much
To cut costs.
to cut costs.
Yeah.
And that compromises what? Quality. Quality in this case is what? Is traffic control,
Sure.
is security. And those things have got some serious ramifications.
And also, Bravi, when you are busy stuck in traffic, anything can happen to you there because you are not secure there in terms of there's no security.
I saw so many fights there
So,
on my way
you
to
know,
London.
and also you are dealing with people, some maybe they may have been drinking, you know, you don't know who's who. Criminals are going to start taking advantage of this thing. They'll come, break people's windows, take cell phones. They can even steal cars because there is no one who's in charge of anything. You are on your own when you are there. Sometimes it's dark. It's very, very bad. It's very, very bad.
We were at Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium. Bafana Bafana almost lost 3 points.
Oh, it was
They
a
were leading
mess.
2-0.
Yeah.
Because of what? What we were talking about.
Yeah.
You know? And I was told that close to R500,000 was paid for security there.
Jeez.
But if the security company also you are using is not experienced enough,
You
you know,
have those things.
for these things, it's going to cost you.
And that's exactly what we saw in Gqeberha. But I mean, when we keep things moving, hopefully we're not going to see the same come Mamelodi Sundowns and Kaizer Chiefs
On
at
Saturday,
FNB
it's
Stadium
going to
on
happen.
Saturday.
I
I'm
can tell you
hoping
right now.
it doesn't.
It's going to happen.
Fingers crossed that it doesn't. But I mean, when we move to the field of play, we'll start with you, Velile. I mean, you look at Miguel, who's been suspended. So now when you look into who could possibly come in to help just stabilize that back line for Kaizer Chiefs, who are your options? I mean, yes, there's given him Simango, there's Dikloko as well. Who do you think would be the better to raise their hand and say they're here for Coach Nabi?
I think the logical choice is to go with Given and also Roshan Dotley. Well, Dotley picks himself on that side. And I think with Given also as one of the leaders in the team, as one of the captains. And I think there's a game where they even play together with Dotley. So it's a combination that has been there. So for me, that one is simple. Given as a right centre back and as a left centre back, you have Dotley.
All right, Mahlatse Mphahlele, now how do Kaizer Chiefs manage the spaces? Because that's exactly what Polokwane City did over the weekend. So now they need to figure out as to are they pushing Mamelodi Sundowns more wide or more central? So what can they use with the players that they have as Kaizer Chiefs?
Yeah, Chiefs. The issue with them, I think, is consistency. But one thing I like about Chiefs this season, there's a lot of agency. You can see, man, that things are different this time. I like that goalkeeper coach. He's a bit of a maverick, you know. He runs, you know. And I was watching him the way he's behaving at the stadium, getting people to come up, and I said, during Coach Arthur, Coach Molifi, Coach Gavin, people were dull. You know, people are sleeping.
But it's what we're saying. Remember, a big presence that you need.
And these guys are, you know, there's that fire. You know, I know they lost against SuperSport, but you know, they still competed. They pushed, and that's what will make Chiefs different this season. I'm not saying they can go all the way and win the game. The Sundowns match is going to be another beast because the coach rested some of the Bafana Bafana players for that match. You could see he was resting them for that match. He'll probably play them against Cape Town City for match fitness purposes, and then they'll go to that match on Saturday. But Chiefs, I'm more confident of Chiefs than I was last season because of there's just a new vibe around the place.
Correct.
There's more seriousness. This coach is a no-nonsense guy, and when you have a strong coach like that, it rubs off onto the players. And also, you must not forget the Serino effect. If his Serino is pumping, you know, something might happen.
I think they just need to manage him,
Yeah.
not play him, because to hear that he has not been 100%, didn't train once. So they just need to manage him. And also in the next window, get someone who's closer to his level to relieve the pressure of him. But
Because also the problem is that Castillo is out now. But also that though it's bad for him, the good thing is I think Zwane will get a sustained run now. This is a chance for Zwane to show us what he can do. I've always had confidence in the boy. You know, so the more he plays, the more he'll be better. Who knows? He may be part of these young kids that we spoke about at the beginning of the show, to say these are the future of South African football.
Yeah, I think it was also smart for Miguel to get a yellow card against SuperSport, so that he misses the Makesi
This
game,
one,
and then he's
he's
available
back there.
on Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's I mean,
so he's
those are the
saying
things.
this
Yeah.
week. Very
Yeah.
clever.
Those are the things. Yeah, because then if he went with this one at risk, he was going to miss. And if you miss that guy against Sundowns, I don't know.
All
Those
right. So
skills.
quickly before we wrap up, Mamelodi Sundowns. How are we feeling about them? I mean, when normally we say consistent, so that's Mamelodi Sundowns, but this season it's a different Sundowns with a lot of changes as well. Where Mangoba Mniti, we see he's trying different things, but the quality of players will always be there because that's the depth of Mamelodi Sundowns. How do we see them approaching this game?
Well, it's going to be very interesting, this game for Sundowns, because Sundowns fans also, there's this obsession that the league title was not enough, and it must be accompanied by a local trophy. And so they're in the quarterfinals now of this Carling Cup. And remember the Carling Cup also, I think the advantage for teams that are playing in the CAF interclub competitions is that the revised fixture will see the Carling Cup being played to finish before the fixtures start in the group stages. So I think this is an advantage for teams like Sundowns to go all out.
Yeah.
But also they've got their work cut out for them, because as Mahlatse says, Chiefs is hungry. They've not had some silverware in 9 years. And I think now there's this...
Kufe Cup doesn't count?
No.
I'm joking.
It's not official. So there's this realization. I want to learn on pinning this. There's this realization that this could be the time for Chiefs.
Yeah.
So this game has got everything.
Yeah.
This has got everything. And also, if you consider that even though Sundowns won the previous game, but that was a big second half.
Yeah.
And they needed a Ballon d'Or performance from Ronwen Williams to ensure that Chiefs not only don't win, but at least don't even get a point.
Yeah.
Until the last moment, Chiefs was coming in hard there. And I think it's going to be very interesting also with the key injuries to some serious players at Sundowns. And also, remember, Sundowns plays differently this season. So, because even Coach Mangoba was saying, I mean, not to see Sundowns, not even a single shot on target. And only one goal attempt in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
That's counted. So I think that was just something. So it's going to be very interesting, but not ever underestimate the quality of the Sundowns team. They can come back at any time.
For sure.
Chiefs is hungry.
Yeah.
For the neutrals, they will be wanting for these two teams to win their midweek matches.
Yeah.
If they win their midweek matches, then you must be seated inside the stadium at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or even at 2 o'clock, because the chaos that is
People
going
must
to be there.
arrive early.
People must arrive
Yes.
early.
You know,
I
we can
agree.
blame also the
All sorts of
authorities
things,
and
but
everything,
Yeah.
but
it's the
people must arrive
responsibility of people
early.
to arrive early.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't leave at 4
can't ask
o'clock.
to late because we are tourist data.
One thing I
So
wanted
we
to
must
mention
decrease
about
this.
Pirates,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have noticed. I'm not saying anything. Pirates have played 4 games at home.
What's your point?
Remember, some features have been brought up, have been brought forward.
I looked at this thing. Out of 5 league matches,
Yeah.
4 at home.
But
Your
at the end of the day,
suspicion.
they still have to go away.
And then
At the end of the day, you're 15 at home, you're 15 away.
Yes.
So some figures cut.
But Babe away more than
And then someone said to me, hey, Jack, also, Chiefs and Pirates always play together before at the beginning of the season. Why is this thing happening? But it's not me, it's people who were talking about this stuff.
Conspiracy theories. All right, that's how we wrap up the Arena Sports Show. You let us know as well what you think about it. But thank you so much for joining us. We'll do it again soon. Take care. Goodbye.